The guy getting the most attention is usually the one not trying. He's not the richest, not the best looking, not even the loudest in the room. And yet, everyone gravitates toward him. Because what you think creates attraction is exactly what's killing it. Welcome to Female Nature Revealed. Have you ever noticed the guy getting the most attention is usually the one not trying? He is not the loudest person in the room, not the richest, and definitely not even the absolute best-looking guy. And yet, despite all of that, people naturally gravitate toward him without any hesitation. So what exactly are they seeing here? What hidden qualities does he possess that you are completely missing out on right now in these highly competitive social settings? This video is not about cheap tricks or cheesy pickup lines that you can simply memorize and repeat to strangers. It is fundamentally about understanding exactly how human perception operates effectively within incredibly high stimulation environments like clubs or big parties. When you walk into a crowded room, your brain is instantly overwhelmed by a massive flood of complex and confusing information. In these chaotic moments, everyone is subconsciously evaluating each other, trying to figure out who holds the highest social value. But women, in particular, have evolved a highly refined radar to instantly detect who is genuinely confident and who is faking. This evolutionary advantage allows them to quickly filter through the noise and zero in on the men who display true strength. So let us dive deep into the fascinating framework of evolutionary and social psychology to uncover the real secrets of attraction. First, we must set a solid foundation. Imagine yourself standing in the middle of a vibrant, loud, and incredibly busy nightclub. In environments like these dynamic clubs or massive social gatherings, time is always strictly limited, and information is completely incomplete. Because decisions must be made extremely fast, the human brain relies heavily on specific signals, recognizable patterns, and clever mental shortcuts. Looking closely from an evolutionary lens, attraction in these fast environments is rarely about pure logic or carefully calculated rational thought. Instead, it is entirely about rapid signal detection, instinctively sensing who possesses the best qualities for long-term survival and success. Women subconsciously scan the room, looking for those subtle micro-expressions and body language cues that reveal a man's true nature. It is a fascinating dance of primal instincts, where the conscious mind takes a back seat to millions of years of evolution. To truly understand this phenomenon, we must break down the core mechanisms into 4 distinct groups for better flow and depth. Group 1 focuses intensely on the concepts of absolute scarcity and the powerful psychological trait known simply as non-neediness in men. The first major concept here is the undeniable power of walking away. It means ending conversations naturally without forcing any interactions. It is about never lingering awkwardly just to seek someone's approval or desperately hoping they will finally validate your mere existence. When you gracefully step away, you send a massive subconscious signal of complete self-sufficiency and incredibly low dependency on external validation. The rule is simple. The less you need the moment, the more undeniably valuable you appear to everyone present in it. The second powerful mechanism is the strange attraction to non-attention. This means you are not constantly scanning the room for validation. You are not desperately seeking eye contact from every beautiful woman who happens to walk past your table at the bar. This specific behavior immediately creates a profound sense of curiosity in the minds of the women who are quietly observing you. They naturally wonder why you are not trying to impress them, like every other guy who is desperately fighting for attention. It is a proven psychological fact that human attention is naturally drawn to those mysterious individuals who do not chase it. Now let us move on to Group 2, which revolves entirely around the critical concept of social validation and status signaling. The third major mechanism is social proof. This simply means being seen genuinely enjoying your interactions with other people around you. When a woman sees you easily connecting with a group, her brain instantly takes a very powerful and efficient mental shortcut. Her subconscious mind quickly concludes that if all these other people highly value him, then he absolutely must have high value. You do not even have to speak to her directly. Your social proof does all the heavy lifting for you automatically. The fourth mechanism in this group is laughter. But surprisingly, laughter is not always just about someone having a great humor. More often than not, laughter acts as a powerful subconscious signal that demonstrates deep comfort, genuine connection, and strong social approval. When women see others laughing comfortably in your presence, it instantly elevates your perceived status in that specific social hierarchy environment. This brings us to a crucial realization. People do not just react to you based entirely on your own isolated actions. They continuously and subconsciously react to exactly how all the other people around you are reacting to your presence and energy. This means that your reputation and perceived value are constantly being shaped by the subtle dynamics of the entire social group. Now we enter Group 3, focusing on the incredibly fast process of rapid status assessment that happens in every social interaction. The fifth core mechanism is the brutal first 10 seconds filtering process. In this tiny window, judgments are made almost instantly. During these critical 10 seconds, women are not listening to your words. They are analyzing your posture, movement, and eye contact. It is absolutely not about what you say. It is entirely about your physical presence and how you occupy the space. If your shoulders are slouched and your eyes are darting around nervously, you instantly signal low status and extreme social insecurity. But if you stand tall, move slowly, and hold steady eye contact, you project immense confidence and undeniable high social value. This is a profound evolutionary insight. Humans evolved over millions of years to assess threat and value instantly for basic survival. Before language even existed, our ancestors had to know immediately if a stranger was a dangerous enemy or a valuable ally. That ancient survival mechanism is still deeply hardwired into our brains today, constantly running in the background of every social encounter. This explains why first impressions are so incredibly powerful and almost impossible to completely reverse once they have been firmly established. Now we arrive at Group 4, which dives deep into the fascinating realm of emotional regulation and the transfer of energy. The sixth core mechanism is energy mirroring. This is a very powerful psychological phenomenon that happens continuously without you even noticing. If you maintain a calm, grounded presence, the people around you will unconsciously mirror that state and naturally begin to slow down. However, if you project nervous, frantic energy, others will immediately feel that intense anxiety and become highly uncomfortable in your presence. This is based on a fundamental rule of human psychology. Emotional states are highly contagious and spread rapidly through any group. You must realize that people do not just hear the words you speak. They literally feel the state of your nervous system. A man who can regulate his own emotions effectively becomes a massive beacon of safety and stability in a chaotic world. This emotional stability is incredibly attractive to women because it signals that he can easily handle difficult situations without completely breaking down. The seventh and final core mechanism is stress testing. This involves small challenges, playful teasing, or applying slight social pressure to someone. Women will often subconsciously test a man to see how he reacts when suddenly pushed slightly out of his personal comfort zone. The underlying purpose of these subtle tests is to verify behavioral consistency and ensure that his confident facade is completely genuine. If a man gets easily offended or extremely defensive over a simple joke, he instantly fails the test and loses all respect. But if he remains calm, smiles effortlessly, and holds his ground, he proves that his internal strength is truly authentic and unshakable. The key takeaway here is profoundly simple. Unwavering stability under unexpected pressure always signals ultimate authenticity and incredibly high social value. This is why the guys who try the hardest often fail the most miserably when they are finally put to the test. They have built a fragile house of cards that collapses the moment a woman applies even a tiny bit of social pressure. Authentic confidence cannot be faked for very long. It must be deeply ingrained in your character through real-life experiences and growth. By understanding these 7 core mechanisms, you can begin to completely rewire how you present yourself to the world every single day. You will stop relying on cheap gimmicks and start building a genuinely attractive personality that commands respect in any given social environment. Now let us elevate this video and dive into the deep insight section to truly understand exactly why this entire system works. At its very core, human attraction is fundamentally about rapid pattern recognition, not slow, deliberate, or highly conscious logical analysis of facts. When a woman looks at you, her primal brain is instantly asking several critical survival questions without her even consciously realizing it. The first major question her subconscious asks is simply this: is this particular person emotionally and physically stable enough to be trusted? The second vital question is, does this individual hold any real value to the larger group, or is he just a burden? And the third crucial question is, do other people positively respond to his presence, or do they actively ignore and avoid him? These 3 primitive questions form the absolute bedrock of female attraction, completely bypassing any logical reasoning you might try to present verbally. This leads us to a massive core insight that will completely change how you approach every single social interaction from now on. Your perceived value is absolutely not determined by what you say. It is entirely defined by what your behavior signals under observation. You can memorize the smartest lines in the world, but if your body language screams insecurity, your words become completely meaningless noise. Women are masters at reading these silent signals, and they trust them far more than any carefully constructed sentence you could utter. Because words can easily be faked, but the subtle micro-expressions of a truly confident nervous system are nearly impossible to counterfeit. This explains why the quiet guy in the corner often generates way more magnetic attraction than the loud guy buying everyone drinks. The quiet guy is projecting absolute stability and total non-neediness, while the loud guy is frantically broadcasting his desperate need for validation. Now that we understand the deep psychology, let us analyze exactly what most regular people get completely wrong in these social situations. The biggest mistake men make is actively trying way too hard to impress a woman the moment they finally start talking. They suddenly start bragging about their jobs, their expensive cars, or their wild adventures, desperately hoping to artificially inflate their perceived value. Another massive error is over-talking. They fill every single second of silence with nervous chatter because they are terrified of awkwardness. They also have a terrible habit of over-explaining themselves, constantly justifying their actions and opinions to seek her ultimate approval. All of these behaviors stem from one tragic root cause: a deep underlying need to constantly seek external validation from beautiful women. The fundamental problem with this approach is a cruel paradox that traps millions of well-meaning men in a cycle of constant rejection. The paradox is this: the more you desperately try to prove your value, the more you clearly signal that you lack it. A truly wealthy man never feels the need to scream about his fortune to every single stranger he meets on the street. Similarly, a truly high-value man never feels the burning urge to constantly prove his immense worth to the women he interacts with. When you try too hard, her primal brain instantly detects a massive discrepancy between your confident words and your highly anxious energy. She immediately senses that you are putting on a fake performance, and that realization instantly destroys any potential for genuine attraction. To break free from this destructive cycle, you must completely shift your entire mindset away from seeking approval and towards providing value. You must learn to become entirely comfortable with silence, allowing tension to build naturally without rushing to fill the empty space nervously. You must cultivate a deep inner belief that your mere presence alone is more than enough to capture and hold her attention. This brings us to the ultimate conclusion of our journey into the fascinating and deeply complex world of evolutionary female psychology today. The most important lesson to remember is that true, powerful attraction is absolutely never about aggressively chasing someone or forcing a connection. Instead, it is entirely about alignment. It is about becoming the kind of man who naturally draws people into his powerful orbit. It is about cultivating a life so incredibly rich and fulfilling that you do not desperately need anyone else to complete it. When you genuinely reach this state of profound inner peace, your entire energy shifts dramatically, and women will instantly notice the difference. The absolute strongest and most irresistible signal you can possibly send to the world is that your life is already completely full. You must radiate the undeniable fact that you are perfectly content and thriving, with or without anyone else watching your every move. This level of radical self-acceptance and quiet confidence is the ultimate hack to mastering the complex dynamics of modern dating and attraction. It frees you from the exhausting burden of constantly performing for others, allowing your true, authentic self to finally shine through brightly. So the next time you walk into a crowded room, remember the power of stepping back and letting your calm energy speak. Stop trying to be the loudest voice in the room and start focusing on becoming the most grounded and emotionally stable presence. Master the silent language of non-neediness, social proof, and emotional regulation, and watch how effortlessly the world begins to gravitate toward you. Because at the end of the day, the most profound truth about human connection is something that absolutely cannot be faked ever. Real presence is not loud, it is felt. Thank you for watching Female Nature Revealed, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe so you don't miss the next videos.